Hey everybody, and welcome back to Living Between Paychecks Kitchen. I'm Oz. Jackie later still Lake Jackson. I mean, they're waiting on a kid and they got the Omicron stuff showing up in the States. So I say that we separate. And this is coming from my little shitty apartment kitchen. So I apologize. Now this one, it's gonna tip the top of our budget thing. We try to do everything under $10, but this is something that my friend Mandy really asked for, and her sister posted the stuff, so we're gonna do it. I promised her that I would make the stuff for Mandy, so I hope that she's watching and she's getting a kick out of this. I'm gonna try to put together a good beef stew. I've done some horrible beef stews in my past, but never on camera. So this is going to be great. It's going to, like I said, it's going to tip the stuff, but it's right at the middle of the holidays. It's soup season, and you can live on this for a few days, so I think we can fudge it by a couple of bucks. And if you go to your local butcher, like I did, you can actually cut down the budget quite a bit. I'll suggest that to everybody. Before we get into it, be sure to like, share, subscribe to all the YouTube-y stuff. Ring the little bell, get notifications when we do this on Tuesdays and Fridays. And, oh, and check the link down the doobly-doo. Check it out. All right, so we got our aprons. Shameless plug, it's Christmas time. I got Jack's favorite spoon. This is the spoon, but it actually comes with this little, spoon wrist, which is built in, which is nice. And I got my spatula. You'll see all the rest of this stuff over here. Shameless plug over. The link's down the doobly-doo. And let's just get into the food. This is going to be awesome. Settle up, Mandy. This is going to be awesome. Let's do the thing. All right, this is a lot of stuff, but this is only half of it. We're going to have to do it in two parts. So, yeah, so your first part, you're going to need some stew meat, or you can get like any kind of beef and cut it up into 2-inch squares. I just lucked out, got some stew meat. We're going to set that aside. Now, you're going to want a full onion, and yeah, I think usually this is like doubled. I'm only using half of it, so, one onion for me. You're going to need like 2 or 3 stalks of celery and 2 or 3 carrots. Now, when I use carrots, I like to use these, because I don't have to peel them, because that's the worst part of any kind of cooking. And it's super easy, and they're easy to chew on later when you have some left over. You're going to need some tomato paste. You're only going to need 4 to 6 ounces of that, and 2 or 3 cloves. I think that means I'm going to use 7. And bacon. Now, it called for 8 ounces. This is 12. And because I'm a little short on my stew meat, I'm just going to use the whole thing there. Yeah, I said 2 pounds of stew meat. You're going to need a single Guinness beer. Now, I got the draft stout because it's the only one I could find around here. And it came in a 4-pack, so I guess that means I got extra Guinness. You're going to need a little bit of virgin olive oil, or the olive oil that's been around the, block a few times, that's fine. You're going to need some chicken broth. Now, why it said chicken broth instead of beef, I don't know, but if you use chicken broth, you're going to use 3 cups. If you use beef, you're going to use 4. I don't know why. That's just the recipe, man. Now, as for the seasonings and stuff, you're going to need some salt and pepper. That's just to your taste and to help with the beef a little bit. You're going to need a little bit of flour, 2 bay leaves, and 3 twigs of thyme, which is just throwing random weeds into your stuff. But it works. You can get it fresh, or you can use the dry stuff and just use half a tablespoon. Now, first things first, wash all your fruit and veg, because that's the number one thing, especially your onion. You need to skin that. Why is my focus all off here? Now, my light and my focus seem to be screwed up, but all we're doing here is just cutting up celery and making sure you wash it, right? I cut these down, I just slice them once. Just get a sharp knife that I got from Andy and just cut them all down one time and set them off to the side on a small plate. Carrots, same thing. Give them a single slice, and they say cut them into rounds. I mean, they're already round or whatever, but I think this is what they mean by these little round bits. Look like refrigerator magnets that stick to metal. Now you got that done. Get it off the side. Now your onion, go ahead and chop that down. Now, when I'm putting them in soups, I like getting them and cutting them lengthwise, I guess, say, to get these rings. Now you can cut them and chop them down however you want to do it. I just enjoy the rings for whatever reason. That's a weird idea. I don't know why I do that. Now, get those off, set to the side. Now, your garlic, again, be sure to get all the skin off of these. I can tell you some horror stories about some meals where that didn't happen. Now, it said to use 3. That means I'm going to use 7 because I have to eat this and I enjoy garlic. So go ahead and just keep chopping it. Just chop it nuts until it goes crazy into little bitty pieces. All right? Just take that, set it to the side. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can do it rough if you want. Now, that's your vegetable. Now, let's get into our meat. Now, your beef, it was not already cubed. Go ahead and cube it into inch and a half, 2 at the most meat. Now, your bacon, I'm just going to slice it. Now, if you got it stacked up, it's a way to cheat. You don't have to cut it all down. I'm going to use all 12 ounces of this because I'm a bacon fan. What can I say? Now, get your knife, just cut it lengthways across the slices, and boom. You're going to get these little bits here that are perfect for cooking, right? That makes it excellent. Go ahead and do the whole thing. Now, because Mandy had to do with this, and I'd be remiss to not say it, when you're cutting up pork, it's going to get hard to cut because there's going to be little pieces of fat tissue that get inside the blade. It's the same as if you're cutting up human people, like skin things, like human people, like there's other kind of people. So just keep that and run some hot water, it'll be fine. You're gonna need a big pot to be able to do this in. This is the only good pot I got. So salt and pepper your beef. Mine's still frozen because I didn't let it thaw. So best way to do any kind of salt, put it in your hand, especially if you don't have a shaker. I don't trust shakers. That way you can take it and use your hand to put it exactly where you want it, exactly how much you want. Not a big fan of salt, but the recipe said to salt and pepper the beef beforehand. Now again, like I'm doing it, if it's thawed, that's fine. If it's not, just give it a few extra minutes because it's going to start breaking down once you put it in there and start cooking, okay? So get your pot, get your olive oil that's been around the block once or twice, and give 2 tablespoons, or just enough to cover the bottom of it. Get that pan lotion in there. Put it about medium high. Don't want it to get too hot, right? So first thing you're going to do is once that gets nice and warm, 30-45 seconds at the most, is go ahead and put your beef in there. Again, if it's frozen, give it a little while longer, but you're going to go ahead and brown this down. So just let it keep cooking. Now if it's frozen, as long as you check on it every minute or so, you can come in here when it starts thawing and break it apart. Now once it's nice and browned, go ahead and pull the meat out. Like again, it's counterintuitive, but trust me, it works. So go ahead and get your beef browned, pull it out. It takes anywhere between 3 and 10 minutes, depending on your elevation and how hot you have everything, and the beef itself, if it's frozen or not. So pull that out. So to decide, why is my camera going weird? The slow motion, like now turn this down a little bit to about medium low, and put your garlic and onion in there for about 3 minutes. Let it get in there nice, and it'll start wilting, but don't worry about it too much. It keeps it from getting like overly hard. Now go ahead and throw your bacon right on top of it, like all 8 to 12 ounces, depending on how much your bacon is. Now be sure to put that meat on the middle, like we always talk about. Like you want to cook the bacon, the onions are going to be cooked along with it, but you want that meat cooked first. Now bang that around the bottom of there until you brown your bacon. Now I don't say crisp it, wait until the edges start turning brown. I'm not a giant fan of like crunchy bacon in the first place, let alone in my stew. So once you get that nice and brown, go ahead and drop in your carrots and your celery. Now 3 tablespoons of flour, and just put it right in there. Now it's going to start hitting that oil, and it's going to start cooking the flour, so you're going to need to stir it for about a minute. Alright, so just get you a nice spoon like we sell here. Shameless plug. But just stir that flour around. Just let it get in there, get in that grease, start cooking. You'll see it'll be really thick. Make sure it's just not white flour sitting anywhere. But again, for about a minute, give it a nice good stir. It'll cook down that flour, kind of spread it all over your vegetables. Again, your house is already smelling awesome, so this is just a way to absorb that and just get to there in a second. Now, 3 cups of your chicken broth, or 4 if you're using beef for whatever reason. So go ahead and just add that directly in there. And yes, I know I poured it out the wrong side of the cup. Don't give me a hard time. That's just on me. Now, tomato paste, you want to do 4 to 6 ounces. I think this was a 6-ounce can, so I ended up using just 4 of it. Now do your whole 14.9 of your Guinness and just put it right in there. Now, again, I'm not much of a drinker anymore, but it makes it smell good. Give it a nice stir. Make sure all that works in there, especially with the flour. Make sure it doesn't all just stick at the bottom. So just give it a nice big stir, okay? This, again, is going to smell outstanding. You're going to want to stop and eat it now, but it's going to take a little while. Put in 2 bay leaves and 3 of your thyme sticks. You can kind of tear off all the leaves if you want to take the time, or you can just throw in the whole little miniature tree. Push it in there, give it a nice stir. Make sure those are nice and covered up where they don't just sit and simmer on top. And then you're going to need to add your beef back in. Should still be kind of warm. You hadn't had that too long. But get in there. If you don't have enough broth, you want it to just barely cover everything. The vegetables and meat sticking up is okay. If you put too much more in there, it'll be really runny. That's what I've had a problem with my stews in the past. So you want to turn it down, turn it on the simmer, either flat to low bubbles for 2 hours. You want to let it sit in there for 2 hours and just sit and simmer, and it'll really cook that stuff through, make the whole house smell amazing. And, this is what you got. This is great. This is stew. You're going to have to fight off any of the children because they're going to try to reach into it. While you're doing that, be sure to reach in and pull out the thyme trees now that the leaves have cooked off. Pull out all the little trees there. You don't want to serve that to anybody. And your bay leaves, like the big leaves. You can leave the little thyme leaves in there. And there you have it. Beef stew in little under 3 hours. I know it takes a little time. There's a lot of prep in this one. And then there's 2 hours of just letting it sit and simmer. But this is amazing stuff. This is really, really good.
I would tell anybody to try this. I wasn't sure about putting the Guinness in it, but it made this really, really good. Again, you can take this, you can chill it in the refrigerator for a few days. You could probably freeze it. I haven't tried it yet. So for meal prep, this works out perfect. So give this one a try.
And there you have it, folks. The stew that Aaron sent me the menu for, or the recipe for, and the one that Mandy was really wanting to try. I wish he could come over, but this will stay for a little while. It's good for a food prepping thing. It smells amazing. Like this, it's like super thick. It's great. Most of my stuff, I don't use enough flour. I use too much, so it's like super thick or super runny. This worked out pretty good. This is great. I'm going to put it next to a nice big slice of pumpernickel bread because that sounds amazing. I'm drooling. If you do it differently, you want to see us do it differently, you want to tell Mandy what to tell me to do next, let us know. Put it down in the comments. That's what they're for. You can also find us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Pinterest, and Patreon. You can find us at all those at Living Between Paychecks Kitchen. You can also find us at Instagram at Living Between. We had to shorten it over there. You can also find me on all of those under my name, Nerdy, but you can also find me on, what's it called? It's all the one with all the kids and stuff. The TikToks. You can find us on TikTok. I've been getting some recipes over there and doing some small videos that are just for there, which is amazing. But this is our stuff. Tuesdays, Fridays. Let us know. I want to revisit this one. This one's really good. And it's soup time, stew time. This is really filling, sticks to your ribs. It's amazing. Thank you, Mandy, for telling me to make this. Thank you, Aaron, for giving me the recipe. This is great. And I'll see y'all next time. I'm going to go eat some damn stew. This is good.